contributor, and I have the pleasure of speaking to two-time Olympic gold medalist and undisputed junior middleweight champion of the world, Claressa Shields. How you doing today, Claressa?
I'm fine. It's just middleweight. I'm fighting at junior middle my next fight, but
Fighting
I'm just
junior middleweight
middleweight.
next fight. I'm sorry. The,
Yeah.
the last fight was undisputed for the undisputed middleweight title. I'm sorry about
Yep.
that. Definitely going dominating both divisions either way at this point. So talk to me a little bit about your opponent, Ivana Habazin. I think I said if that's how you say her name.
Habazin. Well, Ivana is very experienced. She's 20 wins, 3 losses. I believe 1 draw. She's been there with, the likes of Cecilia Brakes, Michaela Lauren. Had some tough fights with them. And hasn't lost a fight in, I believe, 4 years.
Mm-hmm. Right. So, I mean, I know one of the biggest things right now for you is you're dominating the sport to such a degree that finding a challenge, I think, I think at this point right now, I think that might be your biggest challenge is finding a challenge. Like some fighters, they have these rivals, right? But when you're mowing everybody down and making fights look where like they're not even super competitive, do you think that that's your biggest challenge right now?
No, my biggest challenge is just women's boxing, period.
Hmm.
Me being as great as I am, everybody wants to see you get into a firefight, but I'm just one of those athletes who have great defense, offense, know how to fight, know how to box, and I don't get paid to get in there and get knocked around,
Hmm.
and I think that I'm not gonna have a tough challenge. I'm not looking like, I want a tough challenge. I'm just gonna fight the best.
Hmm.
And if the best show up and they show up and they're not second best, then that's their fault. But my job is to go in there and to overperform every fight. Overperform in camp. And like I said, I said that my fight is with women's boxing is because women's boxing, we've always had we've never had a super match, like until me and Christina Hammer fought against each other, 2 undefeated fighters who's reigning at the time, both undefeated. Just all these great resumes, and me and her got in the ring with each other and we fought. And we don't have that in women's boxing right now. And now some girls are starting to make that transition, but it's still like a lot of cherry picking going on. And then you have the promoters and people trying to tell you stuff like, oh, the reason you're not getting paid this is because you have this many fights, and because of this girl is this and that. And in men's boxing, you don't always have an A+ fighter fighting against an A+ fighter. All men are, you know what I mean? Like, you
Right.
have your A's and your B's, and it's kind of like they want all the women to be A+. And it's like right now I see myself as an A+. Katie Taylor, A+, A-. We got Amanda Serrano, Heather Hardy, Michaela Mayer, uh, Ronnie, Ronica Jeffries. It's so many good girls, but they want that every fight that you see is supposed to be like, oh, this was the best women's fight ever, and you're not gonna get that. And that's what my fight is. It's more of like, I'm gonna go in there and fight and do what I'm supposed to do, but if the other girl doesn't come prepared, I'm not gonna make the fight look closer for the fans entertainment. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I mean it's almost kind of like Roy Jones used to say, "It's not that they're ordinary. I just make them look like they're ordinary." Because
Exactly.
when people would talk about the strength of competition, and I didn't necessarily mean it's about strength of competition. I meant more so just there's a gap, and I think it's pretty
Yeah.
obvious to see there's a gap between you and everybody else. So it's like it feels like now like you said, one of your biggest challenges is really just pumping up women's boxing because it doesn't get the same level of respect and attention that men's boxing gets. I don't
Right.
know, like you're saying, they want everybody's fight to be this spectacular fight. Do you think it's that? Do you think it's the amount of revenue that's produced? Do you think it's interest? Why do you think that women's boxing doesn't get the same level of respect?
Um, my biggest thing is the number of rounds. I have
Mm,
fans who love to see me box. Like when I'm getting ready for a fight, it got guys who come around the ring to watch me spar. Let
hmm.
alone fight. So for the fight, people want to see me fight, and everybody talk about knockouts, but how can you get knockouts in 10 2-minute rounds?
Yeah,
Like not even
yeah,
12 rounds, but 10 2-minute rounds. I don't even have enough time to get a girl out of there. Like as soon as I start breaking her down and hurting her in the ring, and all of a sudden, boom, the bell ring, and she get a minute rest after being assaulted for a whole round. You know what I mean?
right.
And that stops me from getting knockouts. But if you look at women's MMA compared to the men's, everything is the same. For the time that they fight, the world title fights, the promotion, everything is the same. In women's boxing, people are turned off by just the fact that we get in there and we're treated like little girls and have to fight 10 2-minute rounds and not even fight a 12-round fight. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And people want to see us get in there and fight. Like they want to see girls get tired and somebody get knocked the hell out. I mean, that's what you want to see. Everybody can't go in there, I power, but everybody doesn't have that Deontay Wilder hit you one time and you're on the floor knockout power. Like some people
Right.
gotta break you down and then get you out of there. But I don't even have enough
Yeah.
time to break anybody down and get them out of there. And I think that people want that. But just to look at that, and then I think that women's boxing um have a large viewership. It's all about who fight each other. And
Hmm.
a lot of girls who hold belts, you want to fight against girls who shouldn't be on TV, but you're yelling, I want to be on TV, I want to be on TV, and I deserve this and I deserve that. And you got to realize that the fans deserve for you to fight the best fighters. And that's how
Yeah.
you got the views. That's how me and Hannah Gabriel did over 430K views for a fight on Showtime.
Yeah.
Because she brung her fans, I brung my fans, both some hell of a fighters. Same
Yeah.
thing with me and Christina Hammer. I believe on YouTube we're maybe at, I forgot what the ratings was for our fight, but I know I mean like illegal streaming alone was almost 400K. Like
Yeah.
Showtime didn't even post our fight up until a few weeks ago, and there was a post of our stuff all over YouTube with 160K views, 430K views, and it was like this isn't even Showtime. Somebody recorded this and put this up,
Right.
and so
Yeah.
we have our viewership and we have our fans. It's just that women's boxing, we need to be treated fairly, and as in fairly, you're not gonna work less than the men and get paid the same as the men. It's just not gonna
Hmm.
happen.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think it's somewhat similar to what female tennis athletes have to face because the men's matches in tennis are best of five, and the women's matches are best of three. So I think that is actually similar. But you mentioned the MMA comparison, and I noticed that there's been some talk about you challenging Amanda Nunez. I know that you trained with Chris Cyborg, and everybody saw you in the locker room with Chris Cyborg. And to be quite honest, the questions you asked Chris is the questions I wanted to ask Chris. I was like, where was the boxing? Like I know you trained for this, but you came out and you slugged with her in a way that just kind of abandoned all of the technique that I know you, because I know you and her were getting good rounds in together. So how serious is your interest to fight someone like Amanda Nunez or a MMA professional?
You know, my thing is always to outdo the men. So it's
Hmm.
like, yeah, Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather fought, but they fought in a boxing ring, you know. And Conor was like, if I fight Floyd in a boxing ring, I want Floyd to fight me in an octagon. And Floyd just was like, hell no. Like you heard talks about it. And he was saying like, You know, he might have did it with modified rules and stuff like that. But with me, I would fight some of the MMA girls. Of course, in boxing, like, think about it, I would win easy in boxing because they don't they don't go in there and box like we do. Like they got to use, you know, legs, feet, wrestling, and I know when it comes to a one and a two and an uppercut and a hook that I'm one of the best females to do it. So no MMA fighter is going to go in there and be able to beat me, you know. But then when you talk about me going over there, people forget that I'm only 24 and that I can actually do it. You know, that I can
Hmm.
actually train and get ready for it and go in
Hmm.
there, and you will see me freaking destroy a girl. So the interest is there. It's just more of uh it's all about the steps to get there. You know, so
Hmm.
me, I like to give myself a 100% win factor. So I would train my butt off. And I ain't talking about no 2 months and then jump in the ring trying to fight Amanda Nunes. I'm talking
Hmm.
about actually training
Hmm.
like a year,
Hmm.
training of mixed martial arts, kicking, wrestling, how to defend that stuff. And then when I feel comfortable enough, then I'd be like, okay, now let me see if I can even get in here and not only kick somebody and wrestle with somebody, but can I handle being kicked and, you know, somebody wrestling me?
Hmm.
So, you know, just stuff like that. But the interest is there, and
Okay.
I definitely look. I just look forward to the future and seeing where it goes.
Yeah. Now, obviously, there's the weight class difference because you compete at junior middleweight. Yeah. Now, obviously, there's a difference in weight classes, the whole specification. But Amanda, I don't believe has fought higher than 145.
Yeah.
So, if you guys were to connect, would you be willing to drop down, or would you have it where Amanda needed to kind of meet you in the middle, or?
I would love for us to meet in the middle. I think that me going like I'm not gonna make 145, 155. I'm comfortable, but I'm a natural 160 pound fighter. I
Hmm.
walk around 15, 20 pounds bigger than 160. So
Hmm.
you talking about fighting at 45, that's just too much weight to cut. I feel like fighting at 54 was a big push. You know,
Hmm.
I feel like I'm only fighting my next fight at 54 just because I want to fight the best, you
Right.
know, and I want to take the biggest challenges. But and then the girls, now all the girls at 160 are saying that they're going to 68 and
Hmm.
they're going to stay at 54. So if I want to continue to fight the best, I have to, you know, I have to keep going to the girls because the girls aren't going to come to me. So
Absolutely.
154 is my lowest and 168 is probably my highest, but I could definitely fight 175 if I wanted to.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. You know, it's funny. I think that um, your willingness to chase the fight, no matter where it is, no matter what sport we're talking about, I think that actually is commendable. And that that hunger to take the challenges. Obviously, yeah, you want the big payday, you deserve it. You're putting in the work or whatever. But I think the pursuit of the challenge is something that is actually refreshing. But I know that, like, for some fighters, like I know you had mentioned, you know, competing with some of the male middleweights and welterweights, and even a couple of the middleweights, and you were saying that you felt like you could hold your own. I know that ruffled some people's feathers because they're like, oh, you know, this intergender type of a fight. So, I mean, is that something that you like? You feel really confident in that you step in there with a Sean Porter, a Keith Thurman, a Gennady Golovkin, a Manny Pacquiao, even a Floyd Mayweather, Errol Spence, or whoever, and you feel like because the weight is similar, you'd be able to handle that.
I've already. It's not that I feel that way. I know that already. I've
Hmm.
I've sparred against Errol Spence, and Errol Spence didn't knock me out.
Hmm.
You know, I've been in the ring with some of the best boxers to date. I'm
Hmm.
trying to think of. I'm not the kind of person to brag about no sparring. You know, like to
Right.
me, like that's chatty.
Hmm.
You know, and I really respect the guys for them giving me work because me sparring with women, I don't get any work. I have to go light on them. I can't throw my punches hard and fast like I want to. I gotta constantly say I'm sorry for,
Hmm.
snapping the girl or freaking dropping her
Right.
up in camp. So when I spar against the men, that's when I push myself.
Hmm.
And there is no guy who have been in the ring with me who can say, oh yeah, I just had to go easy on her. Um, like no,
Mm-hmm.
a guy had to watch he had to keep his fucking hands up
Mm-hmm.
in the ring with me. He had to make sure he had some kind of defense because if you get caught slipping, you may be picking your ass up.
Right.
And that's how everybody is when they spar against me. It got guys who tell me now, like, I don't know if I spar with you because you be hitting people. And I got look, I like to work. And
Right.
I've sparred with Anthony Durrell, Andre Durrell. Those guys are like my family.
Mm-hmm.
But when we get in there and spar, it's in every boxer nature. Like when somebody punch you,
Hit
you
them
do not
back.
see no gender.
Yeah.
You like, oh, this person just knocked the hell out of me.
Mm-hmm.
And they try to get their lick back.
Yeah.
What do I got to do? Either I'm gonna stand there like a dummy and get punched on, or I'm gonna use my defense and get the hell out the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I have a hell of a defense, like I had against Hammer. People talking about some her jab and this and that, and I'm like, so now I'm not good enough to be the fighter who just got a jab. Like I get in the ring and spar against guys who have a whole arsenal, and I do damn well. And it's some guys who I have just beat up for 10 rounds. These guys are top contenders. Matt Korobov, me and him have had some wars in the gym, and he went to war with Jamel Charlo. Like that's my sparring partner.
Jamal.
So
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
for people to say like, oh, she's just wolfing. Like, no, I actually have been in a ring with these guys, and I've never been put on my ass. I've never been knocked out, and these guys are knocking out other people.
Yeah.
So it's not like I want to fight a man, but don't try to tell me that any male boxer can beat me. That
Mm-hmm.
shit ain't true.
Right.
That's not true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, well, I definitely know that, like, talking to Sean, definitely that there's real respect for your skills and that sort of thing. So I think that fighters know that you are definitely skilled. So I don't think necessarily the ruffling of the feathers is necessarily with the fighters. I think it's more so with people who maybe haven't been there for the
It's with
sparring.
the fans. It's with the fans because you have guys who don't box and guys who don't understand what it takes to be a great fighter.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just like, oh, men are so powerful and so much stronger than women. And we really have a sexist world that we live in to where they feel like women are just weak and that if we want to be boxers, that we want to be men. And they don't respect that. No, we just want to be fighters.
Mm-hmm.
We want to be known as great fighters. We want to have the same opportunities to become great fighters. And we want to get paid for putting our body through hell to entertain y'all.
Yeah.
And that's it. But we live in a sexist world that when any woman say anything about going against a man, you have all these people going in the uproar like, oh no, she said this and she said that, and it's like, dude, relax. It's like if I get in there and spar with a guy and he get off on me, I don't go home and cry about it. I fucking tell my coach, book that same dude for next week because I'm gonna get his ass back. Like,
Right.
it's a sport. It's not a woman abusing a man or a man abusing a woman. People just flip it and dip it and however they want to do it. But like I said, I walk around at 180 pounds. I am not a small woman. People look at me and they're intimidated. And
Mm-hmm.
not just off of like, yeah, my size, but I'm very nice. But people know like, don't go messing with Claressa. People know that. And it's just more of like my demeanor. And when I go to the gym, like I don't even talk. I go to
Mm-hmm.
the gym and I work. I've been to gyms and I've seen these guys talk for almost an hour, 45 minutes. These guys are talking and they only gonna be in the gym for 2 hours. And I'm in the gym working like I work my butt off, and that's why they can even make the comparison of me fighting a man and
Mm-hmm.
me fighting Layla Ali. Like the only reason that they even had those thoughts is because of how I box and my performance, what I say, whatever I say.
Mm-hmm.
That don't matter. People say a lot of stuff. People pay attention when they watch me box. It's a lot of men who watch me box, and they be like, they don't think about, oh, what I would do with her in the bed. They think about, I would never say something smart to her because she'd knock the shit out of me. That's what they think.
Yeah, it's I know that there was something that kind of happened. I think I read or saw something or interview with you in regards to this person I'm about to mention, but there's a lot of similarities with you and Serena Williams,
Yeah.
because it's like you guys are so dominant in your space, right? Now, obviously, Serena's older now, and so she's not quite as dominant as she once was. But in her prime, like you're in your prime now, she was so dominant that people started going looking for other challenges, and many of those challenges, those suggestions, were in the men's tennis. So I think it's the
Yeah.
same way. That's a really, to me, a very similar. And honestly, the backgrounds are similar. You're from Flint, she's from Compton. It's, you know what I'm saying. It's similar types of communities. It is really. I mean, have you ever thought about those similarities and kind of drawn some parallels?
Yeah, Serena Williams, growing up, I didn't have a female role model to look at.
Mm-hmm.
And Serena Williams was it.
Yeah.
It wasn't no other boxer who I looked at or who I wanted to be like. It was more of like when I looked at Serena Williams, I'm like, I want to be as dominant as her. I
Mm-hmm.
want to be just as bad as her. Like, she's the reason I did the ESPN body shoot. Like, my dad was like, no, I don't want you to do it, blah, blah, blah. And and then I sent him pictures of Serena. I'm like, look, Serena Williams did it and Venus Williams did it. And that's the only reason that my dad even was like, all right, go
Yeah.
ahead. But it's just more of like I always wanted to be looked at in the likes of her. And I feel like uh she's people may say, oh, she's muscular and everything, but to me she's pretty.
Mm-hmm.
She's dominant. uh I wish she'd speak up a lot more. Like, she speaks up a lot more now that she's a mom.
Mm-hmm.
But before she became a mom, she was pretty much just kind of quiet, playing tennis and just winning.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the only difference between me and her is that I feel like I'm more real. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like I'm just don't really I have an image to uphold, of course, but I still let it be known that um I'm a different kind of woman. I'm not like soft spoken. I'm not um I don't really care about what people got to say or think about me. I'm not ashamed of where I'm from. Born
Mm-hmm.
and raised in Flint, Michigan, and I try to represent those girls who don't have any representation. I'm
Yeah.
like, and nobody ever sees me look down on nobody. I'm more of just one of those boxers uh, who want to fight, who want to win, and who fight for women's equal rights. But other than that, I'm just real, and that's it. I'm
Yeah.
just real as they come.
So I appreciate your candor and all that, and I really do appreciate your time to just talk boxing and talk this whole situation, because I know that right now you fight two fights. You fight the fights that's in the ring, and then you fight the fight for your sport. So, and I definitely am in acknowledgement of that. So, like I said, I definitely appreciate your time, and I hope that we get an opportunity to talk again. And yeah, it was great.
Okay, thank you for having me.